Good evening. I would like to welcome everyone to order for our September 17, 2024 Little Rock City Board of Directors meeting. We would like to welcome those that are in attendance as well as those watching and streaming at home online. Madam Clerk, if you would, please call the roll.
Director Miller.
Here.
Director Richardson. Director Peck.
Here.
Director Hines.
Present.
Director Lewis. Director Wyrick.
Present.
Director Campiris. Director Phillips. Director Adcock.
Present.
Vice Mayor Webb.
Here.
Mayor Scott.
Present. Let me now recognize City Director Miller for the invocation, please.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. We all please bow with me for a moment of silence as we prepare our hearts and our minds for tonight's invocation. As we gather here this evening, we pay respects to everyone that's here. We understand that views may differ, opinions may differ, and people may feel strongly about one issue or the other. But I believe we can all agree that we want what's best for the city of Little Rock, and we want what's best for the residents. And so when we conduct our meeting here today, we ask that we do it in a respectful way. We do it in a professional way. And we do it in a way that pays tribute to the positions that we have and the trust that the citizens and the residents have put into this board. We say a special prayer for Director Ken Richardson. We ask that you be with him. We're praying for him, and we know that all the city prays for him and look forward to his return here to this board. And with the agenda here tonight, please give us guidance, give us insight, and may we do everything that's pleasing in the sight of our residents and our citizens and the public in which we serve. Amen.
Amen. Please stand for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll now proceed with the presentation of the Day of Goodness Proclamation. Vice Mayor, if you'll take the dais. Members of the city board, as we have members of the Goodness Village join the podium with Vice Mayor Webb and myself, we want to take this opportunity to recognize them through a proclamation. Whereas for over 29 years, the Goodness Village has been a beacon of hope, providing a home away from home for patients and their families who seek medical treatment in Little Rock, offering a true home where families can focus on relaxation and recovery during challenging times. And whereas in 1995, the Little Rock Church recognized the pressing need for affordable short and long-term housing for bone marrow transplant patients and began an outreach effort that led to the creation of the Home Away from Home program, beginning with the lease of a single apartment. And in March 2020, the Home Away from Home program transitioned into an independent 501c3 organization with a new name, Goodness Village, expanding its mission to provide affordable housing to an even greater number of patients and families in need. And whereas today the Goodness Village maintains 20 fully furnished apartment homes and continues to grow with plans to add more apartments to their inventory, enabling the organization to extend its compassionate care and support to more families facing serious medical challenges. And whereas over the years, Goodness Village has provided deeply discounted short-term housing to hundreds of families from Arkansas and abroad, making a profound difference in the lives of those who must travel to Little Rock for life-saving and life-preserving medical treatments. And whereas the dedication and commitment of the Goodness Village to the well-being of these families exemplify the spirit of community and service that we hold dear in Little Rock, offering a vital resource that brings comfort and peace of mind to those in need. Now, therefore, I, Frank Scott, Jr., Mayor of the City of Little Rock, Arkansas, do hereby proclaim September 24th, 2024, the Day of Goodness. Let's give them a round of applause.
Didn't realize I was going to get the spotlight for a moment, but I'm going to take advantage of this moment.
Be brief.
You know how much I can talk. We are honored to be here. We are honored to be here, and we are honored to serve patients and families who travel from across Arkansas and around the world. Last year, we served 170 patients, and 6,069 nights, traveling from 22 states, 5 foreign countries. We're filling a great need in the city. We need your support. With all the growth and development with all of the hospitals, we need a Goodness Village. Our unique setting really provides a home away from home. Thank you so much. I want to invite you all to come to our Day of Goodness, which is September 24th. It's a full day of sharing goodness in our community, and I think we always need a little goodness, don't you? Thank you so much.
Members of the City Board, today we have with us the Little Rock Airport, who will be giving a commission update through Chairman Bill Walker. I also see Commissioner Dr. Harold Betton, alongside Shane Carter, one of the senior leaders there, and there'll also be an announcement of the new airport director, Mr. Stephen Baker. Chairman Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Board. I do want you to know that I have been thoroughly admonished to be brief, and the mayor was not playing, as he was joking a few moments ago. But it's certainly good to be before you
And
today.
Mr. Walker, I know this normally isn't the case, but if you would, please bring the microphone to your mouth so we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. All right, thank you. Can you hear me now, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Once again, to the City Board members, I'm appreciative for the opportunity to come before you today. I'm especially appreciative of the two board members that represent the city on our commission as well, B.J. Wyrick and Ms. Cappy Peck. And so we are delighted that, to have them with us as we deliberate very, very important issues.
And also our new airport commissioner, I didn't see him to my visual to the left, Bob Edwards. I apologize.
Yes. I was going to introduce them all, but since you've done that, I guess I don't have to do that again. So that saves me a little time. I'm going to dive right into this presentation, and I do want to acknowledge in just a few moments someone we're very proud to have as a new citizen of Little Rock and a new director of our airport. But I just want to say a couple of things about the Little Rock Airport and to share with the City Board that the state affairs at the Little Rock Airport is in great condition. We have rebounded from COVID and everything else that could happen to us, and we're seeing phenomenal growth and in passenger increase, and we are trying to work diligently to resolve some of those problems. So the first slide obviously indicates that we are a $1.6 billion annual impact in the state of Arkansas, or according to the state of Arkansas. We impact nearly 4,000 jobs. We are a transportation hub, and we are a great marketplace. Going on to our financial strength, we currently have about $40 million on hand, not to include another $80 million we have in CDs and other investments. The airport touts every year we're one of 9 in the nation that are totally debt-free. And with some of the things that we want to get into that may change coming forward, but we want to be praised and thankful about where we are today. This year, we've had a record $38 million in grants, federal grants, that we've had for expansion. It is a new record for us on an annual basis so far. So we're still hoping to pick up a few more things, but right now we're sitting at $38.5 million. Next slides, our employments are up 6%. Year-to-date is 776,332. And as I'll share with you in a few moments, our airport was built for approximately 400,000 folks back when it was built years ago, a little bit before my time. We're up in terms of available seats by 9%, and we have the highest number of seats among any airport in Arkansas, in spite of what we might hear from the folks up in Northwest. American is our largest carrier, and we are conducting quarterly meetings with all of our airlines to make sure that we're doing everything we can to accommodate them and their growth and development, and certainly in encouraging them to add more flights. Next slide is we're working to expand the frequency of the nonstop destinations. The most popular, though, is DC and New York, and we're doing excellent in terms of our load capacities, and so we're excited that they continue to be excited about the volume that they've been able to receive on those, and we're hoping to push them for more of those nonstops, especially to DC. That's really so popular that we hear about from a lot of folks, a lot of our constituents all the time. So that's going well. We are about to continue to try to enhance that we're about to launch a marketing effort that will continue to promote the airport and what we offer, what we can do, and why we think this is the best place to come and to leave. So we're excited about what's about to happen with our marketing efforts to better share what we're doing at the airport. The next slide is a terminal, the new terminal redevelopment that we started working on back in 2012, and I believe that your own Mr. Miller, who was a part of what you see here today, that vision that was outlined by those commissioners at that time, still is one that we have recently met, not just 3 or 4 weeks ago, to reaffirm our commitment to what you see here in writing. It's a 3-phase commitment, but we'll be talking more and more about that as we begin to get into it. But I'm happy to say that that's something that has Virgil Miller's footprints all over it. So if there's something wrong with it, then maybe we should talk to Virgil first. But anyway. The next slide shows you the 3 phases. We'll, where you have the arrivals hall, the terminal commons, and the departure hall. And for the sake of time, I won't get into the very specific details, but we're certainly happy to answer more details about that at some point. Slide number 9 is the current, that's going to be the new central utility plant, which has been in place since 1971. And it's the first phase before we can do any of this. It's going to be our own way of continuing to generate our own self-sufficiency in terms of our utilities and how we maximize efficiencies. It's estimated that under this new plant we'll save some $150,000 a year just on our utility bills. And so we're excited about that. It's our hope that we can begin the process of launching that phase of this new development next year sometimes, probably late next year. 10 is the same thing. And then 11, one of the biggest challenges we've been facing here as of late is that we've had a real challenge in parking. It's sort of a good problem to have. That means more people want to travel through our airport, and more people want to park at our airport. I might add that we are considered one of the lowest parking rates in the country, I believe. But we've got a huge demand. We are looking at how we can immediately begin to impact that, especially as we begin to get into some of this other construction, because that utility plant is actually going to replace or going to be on the site where the economy lot currently is right now. So those things are coming. We're busy at work. We're looking forward to the input and the professional suggestions coming from our professional staff, especially with our new director that I'll be sharing, having him to speak here to you just a few more minutes. Lastly, last couple of slides, also that will be launched this year, this $4.7 million project on this curbside canopy. That will help with the rain, with getting folks in and out, the handicap accessibility and all of that, so that people can unload and unload in bad weather or in rainy weather. So we're very excited about this. It's been a long time coming, and this $4.7 million came from funding from the federal government, and I want to take this opportunity to thank publicly Senator Bozeman, who was essential in helping and assisting us in getting this federal grant. Without him, we wouldn't have it. But he's been a great help. When I had the chance to meet with him in D.C., he has an ongoing commitment to just whatever we need to do to enhance and improve the Little Rock Airport. And so he's thoroughly on board, and we're excited to have him as a partner. The next slide is what's coming soon is New Hampton Inn that will be right on airport property that is very convenient to the terminal. There'll be actually a walkway, and there'll also be a shuttle, but it will have a path right to the terminal. So it's going to be exciting. It's hopefully will be completed. We've had a couple of delays, but hopefully they'll be ready to open by the end of the year. So we're excited about that as well. I'm going to try to stop here because there's some other things with the taxiway charter that I could mention. That's another $61 million project and upgrades. We were fortunate to get a grant from Secretary Buttigieg when he was in town that helped us and assisted us with these ongoing improvements with our runways and with our taxiways. And so we're probably sitting at one of the safest we can have in the nation. The other thing I want to mention is that we've reinvested quite a lot in perhaps some of the best aircraft rescue and firefighting equipment that you could have. Each of those trucks on those screens cost approximately $1 million. We're the first airport in the nation that will be using the new safer foam to reduce the health and environmental impacts. So we're excited about that. Well, while we're excited about what we have, we don't want to have to use it, but if we have to use it, it's certainly going to be available to us to use. The other thing that I'm proud of is that we were presented an Inclusion Championship Award. This award was given to our staff and presented by the Airport Council International of North America. It's in recognition of our outstanding achievement in promoting business diversity, fostering workforce diversity, impact outreach, and advocacy. So we're excited to have received that award, and we were one of many airports our size in the country that were considered for that award. Lastly, and to sort of move on to the other thing that we're here to share with you, while we're excited about all that we're doing and have been doing at the airport, we're excited. As all of us know, earlier this year, we faced a tragic situation where we lost Brian. And so it was a commitment to not only maintain the good work that he'd done, but to build on what he'd done. And we searched nationwide for what we felt like was the best airport director we could bring to Little Rock. And we did so in a very collective way. And I am so proud to introduce to you and to have him just say a brief word, Mr. Mayor, with your indulgence and the board. Steve Baker, who comes to us from DC as of late. He has more than 40 years of experience, and he has a Little Rock story, and I won't tell that story. I'll let him tell that. So at this time, if I might yield to Steve Baker and ask him to share just his few thoughts with you.
Thank you, Chairman Walker. Mr. Baker?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board of Directors. I wasn't prepared to share that story today, but I will share it since I've. Let me begin by just saying thank you. I am tremendously excited to be here with you. I appreciate the opportunity to shepherd this great organization, which I've probably known a little bit longer than you think I might have. And my mission is to make sure, as we work at the airport, that we make you very proud of your decision and that your confidence is well placed. A little bit about me. Philadelphia born and raised by two Virginia-born parents, proud product of the Philadelphia public school system, an economist and attorney by education, an avid tennis fan. Commissioner Walker teased me. He said, "Oh, I thought you were going to say you were a player." I was a player. So I tore two quadriceps about 5 years ago, but I am returning to the court, and you'll see a challenge match between myself and Commissioner Walker one day, so we'll be. But the story he was sharing with you is about how a number of years ago, earlier in my career when I was working with American Airlines, Little Rock was actually one of the cities that I had responsibility for. And it was on one such occasion on a visit here, in fact, it was my first visit here, that I came into the airport. And for those of you who don't know airports and airlines, basically there used to be a time when airports and airlines worked hand in glove in terms of properties and facilities development. As airlines cut costs, they reduced some of those positions. And now you basically have more finance people than legal folks and real estate folks and engineers and architects. But in any event, came into Little Rock with the intention of going out on an outing that Little Rock was actually hosting for all of the airline folks that served the airport. And I came in and stopped in the evening before the event to say hello to the airport director that I had not met before. And that airport director was a gentleman by the name of James Rogers. For those of you who don't know, Little Rock has the distinction of being the airport that hired the first African-American airport director in the nation. Little did I know at the time that I would be part of that circle at one point. So I thank you for that. And I've talked to a number of folks, and I intend to reach out to his widow just to say thank you to her. There are seeds that are planted and watered that we never think about that have a way of growing if nurtured properly. And part of my mission during my tenure at Little Rock is to continue that process of growing and nurturing the team that we have here. Commissioner Walker didn't mention it, but I extend my congratulations to the team that held together fast in the circumstances that they found themselves in. And I did not find an airport in disarray. I found folks who kept doing their job, making sure that people were served, and we intend to continue that mission. Over the course of time, you will hear me talk about 4 elements that are kind of the foundational piece of, in my opinion, a safe airport. And they are safety and security, economic vitality, customer service, and environmental sustainability. And even as we speak, the team is working now on our goals and objectives for next year and weaving in the things that they already have on their plans and some new things that we're talking about that are centered around those 4 objectives. But the default will always be safety and security. I look forward to working with you. I look forward to getting to know each of you better. The team that I work with knows that my door is open and I am only a phone call away. So with that, let me turn it back over to Commissioner Walker and say again, thank you. And if there are any questions, I'm sure he will manage those for us. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor and members of the board, I did fail to mention something that was very big that we were able to achieve, and many of you are aware of it and were part of it, but we were able to get a 50-year extension with DeSoto Falcom with a commitment of $100 million new dollars over the next 50 years and 800 new jobs. And I want to say, a deep word of gratitude to all that helped. There were many of you, certainly Mayor Scott and others who worked around the clock to make sure that we extended that agreement with them. That was critically important to us because they are a very good corporate citizen in our city. And so I just wanted to be sure we mentioned that. But that is an ongoing commitment, and I know we're working on some other things that will assist and help the soul in their growth and development that will involve directly the city and the city board and your decisions as forthcoming. So that's it. I want to thank you for the opportunity again. I'm happy to take any brief questions if you have them. Yes, sir.
We'll start, Director Campiris.
Bill, thank you. It was a great presentation, and Mr. Baker, welcome to Little Rock. And I love all the plans that you have. One of the things that we're doing as a city, and then the Clinton people are doing, is working with Jordan Tinsley on a power district. And our representative is John Honeywell. And before you go and look at a plant, I would urge you to sit down with John and Bruce Lindsay and Jordan Tinsley and see how we can incorporate all of these things together. It'll save the city, it'll save the airport, and it'll save the Clintons. And Secretary Clinton and President Clinton are, in their expansion, the principal thing they want to do, or one of the principal things they want to do, is be ecologically sound and have a district. And if you really think about it, you go down one levee and you're at the airport. The airport is closer to the Clinton Library than City Hall is.
That's correct.
And it's just one of the things that I would urge you, and I'll call you, Bill, and give you all the numbers. But
Certainly.
if you talk to Jordan Tinsley and you talk to John, and maybe I'll just have all of y'all to lunch and y'all can sit down and talk about that, because it's going to be a huge deal if we can pull it off. And if we can pull it off, we will be the first city in the United States that has taken all of these different entities and put them together. And to thank the mayor to being an integral part of this and being the spearheading this for the city part of it. So it's when I saw that, I thought this is another opportunity we don't need to miss.
Sure, and we're excited and certainly look forward to the lunch. And now's the time to do it because we are looking to try to move on this sometimes next
Well, I'll
year.
call you tomorrow and we'll get it set up.
That'll work. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank
Any other
you.
questions, Mr. Mayor?
Great synergy, Director Campiris and Chairman Walker. Director Phillips, and then Vice Mayor Webb, and then Director Miller.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chairman Walker, for the presentation, and like Director Campiris, Mr. Baker, welcome to Little Rock. Thank you for choosing us. So we appreciate you being here and being on the ground with us. I just wanted to give some accolades to the airport staff. Chairman, I know we talked about the high-level vision, but I traveled last week, and you're right, parking is it. I had to park all the way in the back for the first time.
Really?
So it is an issue. I can personally attest to it, but and I've never taken the shuttles before. That's how far back I was. But the staff who picked me up and took me to the airport and from the airport back to my car, they were gracious, so helpful. A lady, my flight landed late, and she waited till I got into my truck before she pulled off.
Oh, wow.
And I noticed that. And those are the small things that I think matter to citizens and customers of the airport. So I want to give a kudos to the team all the way down to the shuttle drivers for making our airport experience a great one. So thanks to the leadership at the commission level, our executive director, but the entire team for making my airport experience always a great one.
Thank you. Did you get her name by any chance?
I did not get her name.
Okay.
I can tell you her shift, though.
Okay.
Because she ended right after she dropped me off. She said, I'm going home.
All right, well, we'll get that and figure it out.
Yeah,
We'd like to.
absolutely. But she did a great job, and I wanted to share that publicly.
All right, thank you.
Vice Mayor Webb.
Thank you, Mayor Scott, and thank you for the very good presentation. Chairman Walker, welcome, Mr. Baker. The $38 million in grants is very impressive. I have one question on the terminal redevelopment slide. The dots the dotted area around the concourse. Could you just give me a quick explanation of what that is?
Let me just get to that slide. Okay, Shane, you gonna help me with this? I'm gonna ask Shane, I'm gonna ask Shane to help me out with this a little bit. Yeah.
So what you're seeing here, there are basically 4 phases. The departures hall or the ticket lobby was completed in 2012. Then you have the terminal
Oh,
commons.
Ally, can you change it to the slide? Okay.
I'll go back to it.
It's,
ma'am. There you
that
go.
one right there. Mhm.
All right. So the ticket lobby or the departure hall was completed in 2012. Then you have the terminal commons there in the center, which is a security checkpoint and a larger entrance, followed by the arrivals hall, which is a baggage claim. And then you see the concourse to follow there.
Well, and I think one of the reasons why that's last is because one of the things that we pick up with the new arrivals hall is you can barely see it, but there are 2 additional gates that come out at the rear of what's called the arrivals hall, which is also the utility plant. So we're able to pick up 2 new gates there. So I think the thinking was at that point, we needed to kind of assess where we were and what the demands were and be flexible in terms of how far we would grow that concourse. So right now, it's currently, I guess, what it is now, and that would create an opportunity for us to expand further out to make it larger if the demand was there. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. With the concourse, that looks to be, as of now, after the terminal commons and the arrivals hall
It's complete.
will be completed.
Few years?
That timetable hasn't been determined. That's what the commission is currently looking at. They had a workshop back in August, so they're looking at putting that schedule together, ma'am, with Mr. Baker.
Thank you.
Well, and again, and Mr. Baker probably can speak to this as well. I mean, we want to make certain that we don't overbill. I mean, the demand really does have to be there. As you might know, these things cost quite a lot. So I think the overall estimate on the project is about $400 million, about $400 million. That's, I mean, totally everything. And that was an estimate that was given a few years back. So we anticipate that will probably only grow. Mr. Baker, did you want to comment on that?
The only piece I would add to that is as you look at the design, that concourse is actually a new facility. It's not the existing facility. And part of the reason why a new facility is necessary is because it gives you a wider area for both passengers and concessions. If you've been out there recently at a busy time, you see that people have no place to eat, people have no place to sit. So to Commissioner Walker's point, part of the conversation now is the timing of that and how we phase that. But that's all new construction, not expansion of the existing concourse, but it's a new concourse.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Director Miller?
Thank you, Mayor, and welcome, Stephen to Little Rock. Glad to have you here. Chairman Walker, thank you for the presentation and the update. I just have one question. When is Clinton National going to become Clinton International? Is there any I don't want anybody to reveal any secrets or anything if you're talking with airlines or destinations, but obviously on that monument sign that says Clinton National, it was purposely built to say international too. So any things you can share with us on that?
I will say this, we will work diligently with the community to market. As I think most folks know, it's not a matter of building the airport to attract the traffic. It's a matter of showing the airlines that we have the traffic and then being able to convince them that it makes sense to fly the route, and in some cases, overflying their existing hubs, whether it's Chicago, Atlanta, Dallas. But that's a common effort. That's when we will work with you and work with the business community and economic development to really show why and where it might be very feasible to provide international service. But that's about butts and seats as opposed to facilities. One of the questions I will ask the team, because as we design this new facility, is where would we have the international arrivals facilities so that we don't build something that can't accommodate that? Because that's the other piece of the conversation, is even if we don't build it out now, making sure that we have that capacity in the design. Because as you know, these are long-term facilities.
Certainly, and I know certainly the vision with those gates over by the arrivals hall was something that sort of past commissions talked about could be something that would handle international arrivals. But obviously, we have a relationship with DeSoto and the visitors that come from there. So I was just curious about that.
Yeah, that's part of the community I was referring to.
All right. Thank you, Mayor.
Let me also say, in terms of, Mr. Mayor, one of the things we're working on and we feel good about may be possibility, and that is, as you know, we often have these timetables where we have the global entry. TSA comes in and they do just a brief global entry. We are seriously being looked at as a global entry point, which would mean that folks, rather than go to Dallas and other places, could come to Little Rock. And we'll see increased travel from all over, because people travel all over to just get that global entry approval. So we're excited about that possibility. I may be getting the cat before the cart before the horse, but we're close. So just to share that information, I think.
Well, thank you so much for the update. We do appreciate what we've heard today. Also, we do know we're one of the very few airports that don't have any debt, but we also know we got a lot of reserve. Let's make certain we utilize reserve. I'm very happy to hear about the canopy. Do we have a timeline on the canopy?
Kicks off.
Because we get a lot of feedback when there's torrential rain.
It'll take about a year to construct, but we shall start in the next couple of months at the latest. We'll have a kickoff, but yes, sir.
Director Pierce, did you want, did you press it? There you go.
Steve, could you just tell us why this was an attractive place for you to try to come to? I mean, you're in a big city, in a big place, in a big airport, and everybody wants to lead an airport, but this is, we think this is a great place to come, but I'm just curious why.
I would challenge the presumption that everybody wants to lead an airport, but I understand your question, and the commission asked me that at least 10 different ways when we were talking. And part of it is what we're seeing right here today. It's about community. One of the most exciting things to do wherever you are is to have the support of the community that you're working with. And that was what made Atlanta a joy. That's what made Miami a joy. That's what made Washington a challenge. So when you're working with a community and able to be part of that community, it's a lot more rewarding. It's a lot more exciting. It has nothing to do with the size of the airport. It has to do with the community. People often ask me, what's the most exciting part of what I do? And I said, it's standing in bag claim and watching families come together. So that's why.
I think we'll end on that note. All right, thank you so much. We got a long agenda. I know there's going to be some meetings scheduled in regards to the sustainable energy. We'll get that set up. And I do know there's some other individuals working to get you more embraced into the community. We'll get that handled as well. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners Edwards and Benton, and thank you so much, Mr. Carter and Mr. Baker and Commissioner Walker. All right, we'll dive into the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, Director Peck. Before Director Peck, I just want to give Director Peck just great appreciation for her leadership of our litter campaign. She'll talk a little bit more about it, but she's definitely been our litter czar in a very real way. If you've seen some of the photos from this weekend, and just want to make certain you know how much we appreciate you. I know you had some great commentary at the Little Rock Rotary Club as well.
We did. Thank you. And I will be so very brief. I just really wanted to thank the city staff who helped us pull it off on Saturday. Director Adcock, Vice Mayor Webb showed up. Lance, thank you for coming to Rotary today, and Kathy. We had a great panel discussion. People are excited. They are, can I say the word? I can't?
No.
People were pissed off. I said it anyway. And Joe, you can put that in the paper. That's not a bad word. Is that a bad word?
I think so.
It is? Okay. All right. People were, is it a bad word, Tom?
Well, my son at 5 was told that it's asking where we need to piss when he's at the Mayflower. I thought it was funny.
Okay, we're off the rails now.
Okay, all right, never mind. Okay, y'all know me by now. Hey, I work in a restaurant. I'm just trying to, but people are angry, but they're also excited. I I really need the help from all of my colleagues on the board. National Night Out is coming up. We are really going after the Adopt a Street program, the Adopt a Trail, Adopt a Park. We've got lots of things coming down the pike, but just wanted to thank my colleagues for supporting me, and the great city staff. Could not have done this without them. So
Awesome.
pick it up, Little Rock.
All right, thank you so much again, Director Peck, for your leadership in that effort. Members of the board, we have two modifications for today's agenda. Temporary withdrawal, as well as M1 resolution. Do I have a motion? And the M1 is to add to the consent and others to remove. Thank you for the motion and second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read the consent agenda and M1. And again, the modification for temporary withdrawal is for item number 26. Item number 26 will not be read today. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read the agenda M1.
A motion to approve September 26, 2023, and November 14, 2023 minutes of the Little Rock City Board of Directors special call meeting, and October 2nd, 2023, October 17, 2023, November 7th, 2023, November 21st, 2023, December 5th, 2023, and December 12th, 2023 minutes of the Little Rock City Board of Directors meeting. A resolution to transfer the title of property located at 3022 West 16th Street from the City of Little Rock, Arkansas to Anthony Lemons, owner of No Mail Properties LLC, to be used for neighborhood revitalization programs and for other purposes. A resolution to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with SWCA Inc., doing business as SWCA Environmental Consultants, in an amount not to exceed $80,125.48 to resurvey a portion of the Hillcrest National Register Historic District and for other purposes, funding from the Arkansas Historic Preservation and Grant Program. A resolution to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with Escamilla Excavating LLC in an amount not to exceed $213,903 for the Mellon Street Drainage Project and for other purposes, funding from the limited tax general obligation capital improvement bonds. A resolution to authorize the city manager to enter into a professional engineering services agreement with Garnet Engineering LLC in an amount not to exceed $116,000 for the design of North Van Buren, Hawthorne, and Country Club drainage and for other purposes, funding from the 3/8 capital improvement sales tax. A resolution to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with Positive Result Lawn Services, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $70,357.68 for Bishop Street sidewalks and for other purposes, funding from the limited tax general obligation capital improvement bonds. A resolution to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with Escamilla Excavating LLC in an amount not to exceed $104,402.40 for the Bridgeport Court Drainage Project and for other purposes, funding from the limited tax general obligation capital improvement bonds. A resolution to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with Escamilla Excavating LLC in an amount not to exceed $99,922.80 for the Redwood Drive Drainage Project and for other purposes, funding from the limited tax general obligation capital improvement bonds. A resolution to set October 2nd, 2024 as the date of public hearing on the request to abandon the 20-foot wide platted alley right-of-way 20 feet by 164 feet located within Block 8 Woodruff's Addition in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for other purposes. I'm sorry, one more. A resolution to authorize the city manager to enter into a settlement agreement which includes a payment of $795,000 to Susan Terry Bourne to resolve all claims against the city of Little Rock, Arkansas Museum of Fine Arts and the Arkansas Arts Center Foundation and for other purposes. That concludes the consent agenda.
We've had a motion second, but we have a discussion. Director Pierce.
On M1, I want to thank Mr. Carpenter and his staff for doing a great job getting this resolved in an equitable fashion and making sure that we move forward in a good way. So thanks, Tom, on the good work in your staff.
It was Sean Overton and Cameron Bowden that did the Baines work.
Director Peck, raise your hand. Oh, that was from earlier.
Oh, sorry.
We've had a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read item 10, read the grouped items.
An ordinance to condemn the property located at 3900 Asher Avenue, Little Rock, Arkansas, as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structure, to declare an emergency, and for other purposes. An ordinance to condemn the property located at 5922 South University Avenue, Little Rock, Arkansas, as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structure, to declare an emergency, and for other purposes. An ordinance to condemn the property located at 6705 South University Avenue, Little Rock, Arkansas, as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structure, to declare an emergency, and for other purposes. An ordinance to condemn the property located at 5409 Geyer Springs Road, Little Rock, Arkansas, as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structure, to declare an emergency, and for other purposes. An ordinance to condemn the property located at 4416 Asher Avenue, Little Rock, Arkansas, as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structure, to declare an emergency, and for other purposes. An ordinance to condemn the property located at 4424 Asher Avenue, Little Rock, Arkansas, as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structure, to declare an emergency, and for other purposes. An ordinance approving a planned zoning development to establish a planned district commercial titled JWJ Investments PDC located at 5914 West 19th Street, City of Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the City of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for other purposes. An ordinance reclassifying property located in the City of Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the City of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for other purposes. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development to establish a planned commercial development titled Stagecoach Properties LLC OCD located at 3204 Shackelford Pass, City of Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the City of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for other purposes. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development to establish a planned commercial development titled Total Land Corporation PCD located at 9020 Chico Road, City of Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the City of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for other purposes. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development to establish a planned development office district titled Apex Real Estate POD located at 13151 Cantrell Road, City of Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the City of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for other purposes. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development to establish a planned district commercial titled Harris STR2 PDC located at 1807 East 3rd Street, City of Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the City of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for other purposes. An ordinance to declare it impractical and unfeasible to bid, to authorize the city manager to enter into a sole source contract with Greystone Partners, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $49,775 plus applicable taxes and fees for the purchase of helmets for the Special Operations Division and for other purposes. An ordinance to declare it impractical and unfeasible to bid, to authorize the city manager to enter into a sole source contract with GovernmentJobs.com, Inc., doing business as NeoGov, to purchase the position import subscription with options to renew in an amount not to exceed $21,641 plus applicable taxes and fees and for other purposes. An ordinance to declare it impractical and unfeasible to bid, to authorize the city manager to enter into a sole source contract with GovernmentJobs.com, Inc., doing business as NeoGov, to purchase a single sign-on subscription with option to renew in an amount not to exceed $14,089.95 plus applicable taxes and fees and for other purposes. First reading.
There's a motion second. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Second read.
An ordinance to condemn.
And I'm sorry, and Madam Chair, just for those who are watching online, we do understand that the system is choppy. Our IT team is working to rectify the issue as quickly as possible for those who are watching and streaming online, and it seems a bit distorted. Madam Clerk.
An ordinance to condemn the property located at 3900 Asher Avenue, Little Rock, Arkansas as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structure, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to condemn the property located at 5922 South University Avenue, Little Rock, Arkansas as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structure, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to condemn the property located at 6705 South University Avenue, Little Rock, Arkansas as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structure, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to condemn the property located at 5409 Geyer Springs Road, Little Rock, Arkansas as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structure, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to condemn property located at 4416 Asher Avenue, Little Rock, Arkansas as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structure, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to condemn the property located at 4424 Asher Avenue, Little Rock, Arkansas as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structure, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development and to establish a planned district commercial titled JWJ Investments PDC located at 5914 West 19th Street. An ordinance reclassifying property located in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development and to establish a planned commercial district titled Stagecoach Properties LLC, OCD, located at 3204 Shackelford Pass. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development to establish a planned commercial development titled Total Land Corporation, PCD, located at 9020 Chico Road. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development and to establish a planned office district titled Apex Real Estate, POD, located at 13151 Cantrell Road. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development and to establish a planned district commercial titled Harris STR2 PDC, located at 1807 East 3rd Street. An ordinance to declare it impractical and unfeasible to bid, to authorize the city manager to enter into a sole source contract with Greystone Partners, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $49,775 plus applicable taxes and fees for the purchase of helmets for the Special Operations Division and for other purposes. An ordinance to declare it impractical and unfeasible to bid, to authorize the city manager to enter into a sole source contract with GovernmentJobs.com Inc., doing business as NeoGov, to purchase the position import subscription with options to renew in an amount not to exceed $21,641 plus applicable taxes and fees and for other purposes. An ordinance to declare it impractical and unfeasible to bid, to authorize the city manager to enter into a sole source contract with GovernmentJobs.com Inc., doing business as NeoGov, to purchase a single sign-on subscription with option to renew in an amount not to exceed $14,089.95 plus applicable taxes and fees and for other purposes. Second reading.
There's a motion second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Third and final reading.
An ordinance to condemn the property located at 3900 Asher Avenue, Little Rock, Arkansas as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structure, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to condemn the property located at 5922 South University Avenue, Little Rock, Arkansas as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structure, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to condemn the property located at 6705 South Avenue, Little Rock, Arkansas as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove such structure, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to condemn the property located at 5409 Geyer Springs Road, Little Rock, Arkansas as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove such structures, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to condemn the property located at 4416 Asher Avenue, Little Rock, Arkansas as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structures, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to condemn the property located at 4424 Asher Avenue, Little Rock, Arkansas as a structural fire and health hazard, to provide summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structure, to declare an emergency. An ordinance approving a planned zoning development and to establish a planned district commercial titled JWJ Investments PDC located at 5914 West 19th Street. An ordinance reclassifying property located in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development to establish a planned commercial district titled Stagecoach Properties LLC OCD located at 3204 Shackelford Pass. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development to establish a planned commercial development titled Total Land Corporation PCD located at 9020 Chico Road. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development and to establish a planned office district titled Apex Real Estate POD located at 13151 Cantrell Road. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development and to establish a planned district commercial titled Harris STR2 PDC located at 1807 East 3rd Street. An ordinance to declare it impractical and unfeasible to bid to authorize the city manager to enter into a sole source contract with Greystone Partners, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $49,775 plus applicable taxes and fees for the purchase of helmets for the Special Operations Division and for other purposes. An ordinance to declare it impractical and unfeasible to bid to authorize the city manager to enter into a sole source contract with GovernmentJobs.com, Inc., doing business as NeoGov, to purchase the position import subscription with options to renew in an amount not to exceed $21,641 plus applicable taxes and fees and for other purposes. An ordinance to declare it impractical and unfeasible to bid to authorize the city manager to enter into a sole source contract with GovernmentJobs.com, Inc., doing business as NeoGov, to purchase a single sign-on subscription with option to renew in an amount not to exceed $14,089.95 plus applicable taxes and fees and for other purposes. Third and final reading.
We have on item number 14, what we believe to be is the owner. Want to make certain they have an opportunity before we take the vote in the grouped items. Ms. Larissa Evans.
Good evening.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor Scott. Can you hear me? I got a big mouth, I can talk. Good evening to everyone, Mayor Scott, Vice Mayor Webb, and all of the directors. I'm Larissa Evans. I stand before you for 4416 Asher Avenue. Pretty much, I'm just here to state that the building will be demolished, so I will be tearing it down. So that's pretty much.
We'll have our housing neighborhood programs. I think we still have to take an action, but we'll figure that out between now and then.
Okay.
But we'll have our housing and neighborhood programs director reach out.
Okay.
It's a commercial,
So planning.
so it's.
Planning, thank you. Well, Brad, if you'll, Mr. Jordan will get with you after the meeting.
Okay.
But we still have to take a formal action, but things
Yes.
have to happen between now and then. So if you do it
Absolutely.
before us, yeah, well,
It's just the time frame. I didn't have time, and now
no.
it's getting it all together, so,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah.
Mr. Jordan, if you all exchange information.
Tearing it up.
Members of the board, we've had 3 readings. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Members of the board, there are emergency clauses. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Mr. Perry, I don't know if you, is there, it's not, okay. Mr. Sadler, if you'll figure that out for us. Who's back?
I thought we was about to watch a movie.
We won't blame that on you, Mr. Yates. All right, members of the board, Madam Clerk, if you would, please read item number 25.
A resolution to rescind the Little Rock Planning Commission's action in approving a special use permit to allow a group home on the R2 zone property located at 2211 Westport Loop, Little Rock, Arkansas, and for other purposes.
This is a resolution, so before we move, we have two items, two members of the community, Mr. Dave, and I apologize, just Graf. Yes, sir. If you'll approach the podium. And then after that, Mr. Jason Burke. Burke. Oh, hey.
Good evening, Mayor Scott, Vice Mayor Webb, and everyone on the board here, as well as to Mr. Carpenter. My name is Dave Graff, and I'm an attorney with the Friday firm, and I'm representing the applicant, Community Living, Inc., with regard to the special use permit approved by the Planning Commission on June 13th for 2211 Westport Loop. I would like to start by giving you a little background information on the applicant and its affiliated entity, Arkansas Enterprises for the Developmentally Disabled, AEDD for short, which I serve on the board of AEDD as the vice president. AEDD is a nonprofit corporation that was founded in 1971 to promote employment, training, and work opportunities for individuals living with intellectual and developmental disabilities. It's funded primarily through donations and does not operate as a for-profit enterprise. Among the many services that AEDD offers are supported living services through the Community and Employment Support Waiver Program administered by the Arkansas Department of Human Services. Under this waiver program, up to 5 individuals living with disabilities are provided housing at this home in question, as opposed to living in an institutional setting and are supervised by trained on-site staff. This particular home was acquired by CLI in June of 2022 and has been operated since then to provide housing and services to the residents through the CES waiver program. The residents of this home are employed in the community. They go to work during the day and return to this home at night. Residents are allowed to have their own vehicles for transportation, but currently none of the residents at this home do. AEDD owns 25 vans that provide transportation for all of these residents whenever needed to transport them to and from their jobs, medical appointments, shopping, and anywhere else they need to go. There are trained direct support professionals assigned to the home who provide on-site supervision at all times that residents are present. This home is not being used for drug or alcohol rehabilitation or to house parolees. Last year, the planning department contacted CLI and AEDD and informed them that they must obtain SUPs to continue operating all 8 of their homes located in Little Rock. We thought that this was rather odd, given that the city of Little Rock has partnered in the past with CLI to purchase or remodel 4 other similar homes without ever requiring or even mentioning the need for SUPs. Funding of the 4 homes in question by the city of Little Rock has ranged anywhere from $63,000 to $150,000. Currently, 70% or more of the residents of these 8 homes in the city of Little Rock are African American. The applicant has disputed the need for SUPs based on a state law entitled the Location Act for Community Homes for Individuals with Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities. For the record, the site on this is Arkansas Code Sections 20-48603 and 20-48-604. CLI also believes that it is exempt from this SUP process under Section 36-54 E4F of the City Code, which states that any community-based, state-licensed and supervised residential home providing a single-family environment for developmentally disabled persons are exempt from any requirement to obtain a conditional use permit or special use permit. We still contend that both of these exemptions apply to this home in question, and the applicant is not waiving its right to these exemptions by appearing both at the Planning Commission earlier this summer or appearing here today. We're simply following this process in good faith and is necessary to exhaust our administrative remedies, and have followed this process outlined by the city in its SUP ordinance, which resulted in the Planning Commission at its June 13th hearing approving all 8 SUPs. With regard to the merits of the SUP, the Federal Housing Act, Fair Housing Act, prohibits discrimination on the basis of family status and/or handicap, which includes a prohibition on discriminatory zoning ordinances. Generally speaking, any home with 4 or fewer disabled individuals is considered a family for legal purposes and cannot be denied an SUP within the city. Little Rock City Code section, again 36-54E4B, states that there is a presumption that an SUP will be granted for a group home of 5, 6, 7, or 8 disabled persons if all ordinance requirements are met, except that individuals whose tenancy would constitute a direct threat to the health or safety of others, or whose tenancy would result in substantial physical damage to the property of others. To the extent the city has discretion for this particular situation, the city is allowed to consider other factors such as the spacing of existing homes, zoning patterns, maximum occupancy numbers, access to transportation, access to social and medical service providers, and adequate on-site parking. As noted by the planning staff, CLI checks all these requirements. In order to revoke this SUP, the city would have to rely on some other discretionary factor without violating civil rights laws, in particular the Fair Housing Act and the Americans with Disabilities Act. Federal courts, and in particular the Kings Ranch case from the 8th Circuit, decided in 2011, the facts of which occurred just up the road from us in Jonesboro, have held that a city can be liable for unlawful discrimination under federal law where the city refuses to make reasonable accommodations when such accommodations may be necessary to afford equal opportunity to an individual with a disability to use and enjoy a dwelling. In the Kings Ranch case, both the Jonesboro Planning Commission and the Jonesboro City Board of Directors refused to grant the requested SUP to Kings Ranch. Kings Ranch went ahead and filed suit over in the Eastern District of Arkansas, where the court granted summary judgment in favor of Kings Ranch. I'm not sure, Tom, maybe you know, but I don't know what happened to the Jonesboro City Attorney that was advising the city on this matter after the case was decided in favor of Kings Ranch. In any event, the applicant has requested this SUP as a reasonable accommodation to allow these residents to enjoy living independently at this home in a single-family environment rather than an institutional setting. That single-family living environment would not be possible or financially feasible for such residents without doing so in a group home setting, because it would be impractical to provide a separate home with a separate supervisor and separate transportation schedule for each resident. Forcing the residents out of this home and into an institutional setting would deprive them of the social benefits of living in a single-family atmosphere. Under the applicable federal case law, in order to revoke the SUP without committing unlawful discrimination, The city must prove that the applicant's request is unreasonable by establishing one of the following three factors. The granting of the SUP would impose undue financial and administrative burdens to the city. The granting of the SUP would impose an undue hardship on the city, or the granting of the SUP would require some sort of fundamental alteration in the nature of the zoning code. The burden of proof is on the city to establish these factors. Without such evidence, the city's revocation of the SUP would be unlawful discrimination. The city of Little Rock, in closing, has been down this path before. In 2012, Tom wrote an incredible opinion letter, city attorney opinion letter number 2012-006, where the question arose as to what the discretion of the city had to deny an SUP application for a group home known as the Oxford House that housed up to 7 residents recovering from alcohol and drug addiction. That opinion discussed the anti-discrimination provisions of the Fair Housing Act and similar state laws, and basically concluded that the city lacks discretion to deny an SUP without clear and strong evidence pertaining to one of the factors, as I just mentioned. We do not think that the city has established any of these factors and that the revocation of the SUP would constitute unlawful discrimination against the applicant and the residents of this home in question. Therefore, it is hereby requested that the resolution that has been prepared to revoke the SUP previously granted by the Planning Commission as to 2211 Westport Loop not be approved so that the SUP will remain in effect. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now go to Mr. Jason Burke, and then we'll go to board members.
Thank you, Mayor Scott and Vice Mayor Webb, all the directors for allowing me to speak, and for Mr. Carpenter as well. Me and my neighbors have expressed concern about the safety of the access to this house. So this is a long driveway without adequate turnaround for space for safety vehicles. I brought some documents that we were able to locate today, including photos from yesterday, where there are 5 cars parked at this residence, triple parked, 1 in the garage, 2 in the easement, the utility easement, and 1 behind that. None of the residents, as we heard earlier, have cars, so if that's accurate, then there are 5 cars from employees at this property. During the Planning Commission, they talked about having no more than 2 employees at the location at one time with up to 3 residents that could drive. So from the reality of what we are living next to is not quite the same as what they have spoken their intentions to be. However, mostly the Planning Commission did approve the SUP on the condition that the fire marshal do a life and safety check. Is my knowledge that has not been completed. 2 weeks ago at the last meeting, we deferred this so that we could have a fire marshal or somebody present to speak to the safety of the health of the residents who live along this street. So I'm not sure if that was arranged or not. What we are asking is simply that somebody can confirm that this location to operate a group home is safe for my family, my 3-year-old daughter, all of the neighbors who live along this street. So when you look at the photos, you look at the plat of the original development, you can look at the survey of the road. It's a 20-foot wide road, more than 300 feet long. The widest point at the end of that road is approximately 48 feet wide. With cars double parked there, an emergency vehicle would only be able to have a 20-foot turning radius to leave that vicinity. So I'm asking just for the consideration of the life and the safety of me and my neighbors to be considered. And if deemed not to be an appropriate location, simply request that the location be moved to one that does not endanger the lives of its residents or its neighbors. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. Appealing the SUP was the only way I knew of to bring the consideration, one, that the fire marshal was supposed to make sure that this was safe, and so it was the action that we took as the only one we understood we could. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Hines?
Thank you. You know, Tom, and I spoke with the fire marshal. I did not realize there was something else that had been said in planning commission, so I'll let the city attorney speak to that. He did confirm that this residence doesn't conform to our current code, but that it would be grandfathered in, and I think the city attorney will talk to it. I think the whole deal, and I shared with Attorney Graff here, is that I always love listening to attorneys talk, is that they don't think they're subject to a conditional use permit, but then goes on later to admit that that's a conditional use or a special use permit is allowed if it's 5, 6, or 7, 8 individuals. And he admitted in his opening statement that this would be for 5 individuals. I think the issue at hand is that we continue to see folks operate, much like our short-term rentals, set up a shingle, start operating, and ignore our codes and ordinances. This would have gone a lot smoother had they followed the special use permit from the beginning and engaged in this process. I don't think people would feel like they were being railroaded, the residents especially. You know, it still concerns me that staff figured that we've got enough on-site parking for 5 individuals. And it looks like, I guess, to me, it only looks like we got spots for 4, based on the drive and the pictures I've looked at. I'm going to defer to what the city attorney tells us, because we've been down this road before, and I imagine that we may not have an opportunity to do anything but vote this, decline the rescission. But I will let Tom speak to it. And again, I think if folks would follow the rules, and if you think our zoning ordinances, or you go through the process and there's always legal tender. I think the interesting thing about this whole deal is it talks about what the city does. It doesn't talk about what rights our residents have that live next to this and what say they have in what's going on. But that's something that's been decided in the courts for us, not by us. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Hines. Director Phillips?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to get a clarifying question from the city attorney. Twofold. One, from our previous meetings, I think you made it clear to us that rescinding this could open the city up to legal action. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, it will open you up with no defense.
Yep. And then secondly, for clarification for the actual, what we're voting on, a vote no is to allow for this to operate, because it will rescind, correct? This is a rescind vote.
Right.
So we need to vote no to prevent us from having a lawsuit with no defense.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you.
Director Campiris?
2 weeks ago, didn't we talk about the fire marshal coming and being here?
No, we talked about them having the fire marshal, going to visit with the fire marshal within that time.
Or do we have an official?
We discussed, so if you remember, because we had 2 different conversations, at the last meeting, after we asked, last board meeting, we said, hey, we'll visit with the fire marshal. That happened. That was reported back in the agenda meeting and shared with each of you, so there was no need to come back to this meeting.
Well, then, just for the record, can we go over what he said again? Because
He said that all the proper it was fire marshal approved, basically.
It was, and if you look at the exhibit you were given, there's a family living next door to this facility. Assume they had 7 kids. That would be no different than this facility, and we already provide fire protection to it. So to not allow this facility with the numbers that we've been told is discrimination.
That's what I thought I remembered we said, but I thought he was gonna be here to go over that.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
No problem. I believe we've heard from members of the community, we've heard from board members. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Nays have it. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read item number 27.
An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development and to establish a planned district commercial titled Oak Paula Auto Sales PDC located at 1417 West Roosevelt Road, City of Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the City of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for other purposes. First reading.
There's a motion. I think I heard a second. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Second reading.
An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development and to establish a planned district commercial titled Oak Paula Auto Sales PDC located at 1417 West Roosevelt Road. Second reading.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Third reading.
An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development and to establish a planned district commercial titled Oak Paula Auto Sales PDC located at 1417 West Roosevelt Road. Third and final reading.
Members of the board, we've had 3 readings before we go. See discussion from Director Adcock. You have a question, Director Adcock? No. Director Miller?
Thank you, Mayor. Of course, last week I expressed my concern about this ordinance, and I've had a chance to visit with South End Neighborhood Group. I'd like to acknowledge a couple of members who are in the audience currently, Ms. Ruby Jeffries and Dr. Minnie Hatchett, who are here, who are in that meeting with me when I attended their neighborhood association meeting this past Thursday. We talked about the intersection at Roosevelt and Martin Luther King and some of the issues that we're having there with the convenience store that comes up on a continuous basis. We have a liquor store there. We have another auto repair shop there. I guess it's an auto repair shop, but there's certainly been cars all over the place. I'm sure they're not in compliance with some of the ordinances that we have. It's certainly something we're concerned about. And just that intersection of Roosevelt and Martin Luther King, we have enough businesses there. We're trying to clean up our areas. We're trying to make it certainly more attractive for our residents who've expressed concerns there. I had a chance to go by and drive through there, as I drive through there all the time anyway. It's in Ward 1. We don't want to have another business right there, and I've heard strongly from the residents about this and their concerns about this. I am not anti-small business. I may be probably one of the most pro-small business people on this board. And I believe in that, and I believe in entrepreneurship, and I want to support business development. I just don't believe this is a place for it, just based on all what we have currently. And so I'm not going to be supporting this because of those reasons. Thank you.
I missed it. Mr. Ike Opalak? Opalak, apologize. Opalak.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Board of Directors. My name is Ike Opala, and I'm a small business owner. Aside this time last year, I was working at Home Depot. I decided to take a leap of faith and go on go out on my own. And before I saw this little lot, when I was passing by, I saw it and everything was trashed up. I'm telling you, it was a mess when I saw the place. But I cleaned it up. After I bought the place, I cleaned it up and decided to go ahead and apply for car sales permit. And I was told that I needed a C4 to actually open, or maybe a PDC, to be able to open my business. And that's exactly what I did. And I intend to comply with every city ordinance. And based on what I've been hearing here all day, some businesses, get it and then decide to do otherwise. But this is not going to be the case. And I don't see it being a problem because there's an alley just right there by my lot. And I don't intend to have the entrance on Roosevelt. I intend to have the entrance on the alley. That way, that will be out of traffic and everything else. And my customers or anybody that comes, to my place will be in my property and not outside. So I don't see it being a problem.
Thank you so much. Director Phillips?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, I'll just call you Mr. O, for your comments. I wanted to echo Director Miller's comments, and I too support small businesses, but I received a lot of phone calls myself about this location, about the future of it and what it looks like for the residents. So I just want to be upfront that I'm support Director Miller, and I'll be voting no on this one as well, based on the phone calls that we receive. I do understand you taking a leap of faith, and we want to support you, and we want to support business in the city of Little Rock. But it's our understanding that this may not be the best location for this business, so I'll be voting no. I just want to share that. Thank you, Mayor.
Seeing no other questions, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Nay. Nays have it. We'll now go to citizens' communication. Ms. Valerie Ward. Ms. Valerie Ward.
Well, when I put my name on there.
Ms. Valerie, we need you to come to the podium, please.
Greetings, everyone. When I walked, I'm sorry, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
When I walked in, this is just my first meeting, and I'm just here to try to see how it works. There's two different sides, and that's all. I'm here to just observe today and see what's going on.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Senator Phil Wyrick.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mayor Scott, Vice Mayor Webb, and distinguished board members. I am Phil Wyrick. I am over a 70-year citizen of Little Rock, a proud citizen. I have two issues I'd like to just briefly mention. The first is to compliment you and the staff and whoever was involved in the refurbishing of this beautiful boardroom. You know, I can remember as a child of over many years, I was 5 and I think maybe my brother was 7. My mother took me down this end of the building and we visited the fire department. Very gracious, let kids crawl on the fire trucks, the same fire department that we have today. Those are lifetime memories, and I appreciate that. But when I look at this boardroom, this historic room, and I see the craftsmanship and the thought that went into it, we appreciate that. And you have not left out the historic value of this room. I look down at this mosaic, what am I saying, tile, I don't know really what it's called, but it's beautiful.
Whatever you want to call it, Senator.
We'll call it tile, and I know I hit it right. But it is appreciated that you kept that historic flavor. And the second issue is my wife, B.J. Wyrick, of over 50 years, I said, I'd like to make a comment tonight in citizens' communication. You can not only see it, but you could hear the blood rushing to her head. What are you going to talk about? And so I would never embarrass you, dear, in your house. I take a lot of comfort, Mayor, in knowing that Director Campuris is sitting beside her, for her heart rate is over 100 beats a minute right now. So I know that she's in good hands. I would encourage the citizens of Little Rock to come up here and see what we are so proud of. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Senator. We appreciate that. I was a little concerned as well as what you might say. Director Phillips.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to tag on to what we said earlier, give a shout out to our litter leader, Director Peck, in Pick It Up Little Rock campaign. And I just wanted to share this with the public. On the 311 app, there's an option for you to identify litter along city streets. That's something that's been up there. So if you see litter along the streets and you don't have opportunity to pick it up and you don't have your T-shirt yet or all your materials to pick it up, the 311 app allows you to identify where that litter is and then allow our staff to come make sure that we keep our city beautiful. So I just want to highlight that for the public and then give another shout out to our litter leader for her work in this regard. Yeah.
All right, seeing no other questions, Director Hines? Oh, there's a motion, there's a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned. Oh, okay.